When the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, now the Prince and Princess of Wales, announced their choice of marital home, it was framed as a decision for the long term, a place to settle and raise their family. The public watched as the couple, fresh from their highly publicised wedding, stepped into royal life, with the media spinning a narrative of hope and stability. They selected apartment 1A at Kensington Palace, a lavish, historic residence in central London, deeply tied to royal tradition. The move was presented as a sign of commitment to the monarchy and the capital, but it also raised eyebrows due to the scale and cost of the renovation. This was no ordinary apartment. It was a sprawling 4-storey 20-room property previously owned by Princess Margaret. The extensive renovations, funded in part by public money, sparked criticism over the expense and necessity of such luxury. The couple publicly declared this base their forever home, a message that was meant to reassure the public. However, some questioned whether this was just another carefully managed PR move rather than a genuine commitment. The narrative painted a picture of a young family settling in for the long term, but critics noted the contrast between this image and the realities of royal privilege: multiple homes, extensive staff, and resources far beyond those of ordinary families. The move was about more than just a home. It was about consolidating their position within the royal institution. Yet, the scale of the renovations and the blending of private and public funds led to ongoing debate about the appropriateness of such expenditures. The idea of a forever home is often used to evoke warmth and stability, but in this case, it also served to distract from the controversies surrounding the couple's choices and the resources allocated to their lifestyle. By using familiar language, the couple attempted to appear relatable, but critics saw this as a calculated effort to manage public perception rather than a reflection of reality. The promise of a forever home was used to reinforce their image as central figures in the monarchy, but it also highlighted the disconnect between royal messaging and the realities of their privileged existence. In hindsight, the declaration of permanence now seems questionable. The supposed stability has given way to a pattern of change and shifting priorities. The term forever, once used so freely, proved to be flexible, lasting only a few years before the couple's circumstances and choices changed yet again. This initial promise set up expectations that were ultimately not fulfilled, leaving some to question the sincerity and meaning of royal commitments. The saga of their homes serves as a reminder that words and promises from public figures can shape perception, but also that those perceptions can quickly shift when actions fail to match the rhetoric. Turning a historic royal apartment into a private residence for William and Kate was a massive, publicly funded project that sparked immediate scrutiny. The overhaul of apartment 1A was bankrolled by the taxpayer through the sovereign grant, raising questions about royal privilege. The final cost soared to £4.5 million, 4 times the original estimate. Media reports revealed the budget ballooned, allegedly due to the couple's personal demands. The renovation became increasingly extravagant, with custom features and luxury finishes driving up expenses. Such spending drew criticism, especially during a period of national austerity. Officials tried to justify the cost as a forever home investment, but many remained unconvinced. The spiralling expenses fueled accusations of excess and detachment from ordinary citizens. This controversial renovation marked the beginning of growing public discontent. Among the many expensive renovation choices, some raised serious eyebrows. Notably, a second kitchen was installed, funded entirely by taxpayers. William and Kate insisted on a private family kitchen separate from the main one. Many saw this as an unnecessary luxury, fueling criticism of the project's excess. Then, in 2019, another £1 million of public money went toward a new driveway, supposedly for privacy. This pushed the total cost to a staggering £5.5 million. While privacy is one thing, spending such an enormous sum was widely seen as excessive. The lavish driveway and second kitchen only reinforced the sense that cost was no concern for the royals. These controversial choices made the so-called forever home look more like a monument to extravagance than a genuine family residence. Despite the enormous expense, extensive renovations, and repeated public statements, Kensington Palace's so-called forever home for William and Kate proved to be anything but permanent. The impressive facade and manicured gardens concealed a reality that would soon raise eyebrows among the public and royal commentators. For years, Apartment 1A was promoted as the Cambridge's long-term base, a supposed symbol of stability and tradition in London. Yet, in 2022, William and Kate abruptly announced their move to Adelaide Cottage, hidden away in Windsor Great Park. The official reasons, privacy, simplicity, and a so-called desire for normalcy, immediately fueled scepticism and speculation about what was really behind the decision. The public had been led to believe in a permanent London base, now left mostly empty and echoing with the absence of its royal occupants. The grand halls and stately rooms, once used to justify millions in taxpayer-funded renovations, now stood silent, prompting questions about the real motives for the move. To many, the move felt like a bait-and-switch. The family quietly left before their youngest even started school, and the sight of a removal van outside such a storied address was both jarring and telling, a royal chapter ending with little explanation or accountability. The move to Adelaide Cottage was spun as a step down, a supposed embrace of simplicity and family values, but critics saw it as a carefully crafted narrative designed to deflect attention from the questionable use of public funds and the lack of transparency. Unsurprisingly, many were unconvinced. Was the move really about family, or were there deeper, undisclosed reasons for the sudden change? The controversy was inevitable. Why spend so much public money on lavish renovations if a move was always on the cards? Headlines and conversations quickly turned to the cost, the timing, and the lack of openness in royal decision-making. The abrupt departure only intensified debates about privilege, accountability, and the monarchy's increasingly strained relationship with the public. The empty rooms of Apartment 1A now stand as a stark reminder of a discarded plan and a questionable use of resources. Proof that even the most carefully managed royal stories can unravel without warning. The move to Adelaide Cottage was presented as a fresh start for William and Kate, supposedly offering a quieter, more grounded lifestyle in Windsor. Yet, the decision raised eyebrows, as the family left behind another royal residence for yet another property, fueling ongoing questions about the necessity and cost of such frequent moves. While the cottage was described as intimate and traditional, critics pointed out the privilege of having access to such exclusive homes, far removed from the realities faced by most people. By 2025, the family is on the move again, this time to Forest Lodge, a much larger and more imposing property. The decision has sparked further debate, with many questioning why yet another upgrade is necessary. As their roles within the royal family shift, so too do their living arrangements, often at a scale that seems out of touch with the public's expectations. The palace has been quick to announce that this move will be funded by private income, not public money, a clear attempt to deflect criticism over royal spending. Still, the distinction between private and public funds remains murky for many, and the optics of another lavish move have not gone unnoticed. By becoming private tenants of the Crown estate, William and Kate are attempting to project financial responsibility. However, critics argue that this arrangement does little to address the underlying privilege of having access to such properties, and that the gesture is more about managing public perception than making real change. Forest Lodge offers even more space and privacy than before, reinforcing the image of a family increasingly insulated from the public. The scale of the property, with its sprawling grounds and opulent interiors, stands in stark contrast to the calls for a more modern, relatable monarchy. This move allows them to maintain a level of seclusion and luxury that few can relate to, raising questions about whether such choices are appropriate for a family meant to represent the nation. The new home is as much a symbol of privilege as it is of status. Unsurprisingly, the family's constant changes in residence have become a lightning rod for public debate, with many questioning the need for so many homes and the message it sends about the monarchy's priorities. Each move is met with scrutiny, and opinions remain sharply divided. The Windsor estate, with its collection of grand homes, has become a symbol of royal excess for some, offering the family a range of options that most people could never dream of. With every move, William and Kate seem to retreat further into privilege, enjoying ever larger homes while the public continues to question the relevance and accountability of the modern monarchy. William and Kate's housing situation has become a symbol of royal excess and controversy. Despite public scrutiny, they continue to hold on to Kensington Palace and Anmer Hall, a sprawling 10-bedroom mansion in Norfolk. Owning 3 lavish homes is difficult to justify, especially during a national housing crisis. The Princess of Wales has reportedly been shopping for extravagant furnishings, including a 24-seater dining table. Such purchases suggest a focus on opulence and entertaining rather than modest family life. The couple's lifestyle projects an image of privilege and unlimited resources, at odds with their supposed commitment to public service. The Prince of Wales's statements on homelessness are often criticised as tone-deaf, given the scale of their own wealth. Their extravagant living arrangements only widen the gap between the royals and the public. Ongoing renovations and upgrades continue to raise questions about their priorities and the true nature of their public service. The ongoing saga of William and Kate's homes is less about necessity and more about privilege and questionable priorities. At its core, this is a matter of public trust and how the monarchy's actions often clash with the expectations of ordinary people. The so-called forever home was presented as a promise of stability, but it quickly became another broken commitment. Breaking that promise only reinforced a narrative of unreliability and disregard for public sentiment. The repeated moves and expensive renovations have fueled criticism of extravagance and entitlement. This perception undermines the monarchy's image, which is supposed to be rooted in duty and responsibility. The stark contrast between their opulent lifestyle and their supposed public service is hard to ignore. The story now highlights a growing disconnect and a lack of awareness or concern for how these decisions are viewed by the public. If trust is to be restored, it will take more than appearances. It will require real accountability and transparency.